go ahead and answer this question. People ask me, Pastor Dowell, do you celebrate the 4th of July? I think what I'm going to do here this morning is I want to speak intelligently. I want to speak very measured and rhetorically as well. I want to be intellectually stimulating, yet at the same time, I want people to be able to embrace the feelings of words. There's a lot of things that has transpired in the past. There's a lot of things that has gone on in the world that today we're totally oblivious of. History has changed. The narrative has spun many different things. But I'm going to try to reach out to everyone out there. I pastor a multicultural assembly. And I like to think in the day, the time, and the hour that we live in, that I'm doing my part to affect change in a positive way. Do I celebrate the 4th of July or the independence of the American colonies from under the tyrannical control of Britain? Well, let me put it like this. Think for a moment. Think for a moment. It is an assertion for us to have documents such as the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, that has phrases written into it that says we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable or unalienable rights. And those rights are the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of property or the pursuit of happiness. And I realize that I'm going to say things a little bit different than the way we've been trained to believe, but just try to follow along and go with me. Because when we think about Independence Day, when we think about the Declaration of Independence, the history of it, was that what has commonly been called America was nothing more than a British colony. It was people who were servants of the crown. And the crown continually to keep imposing and continue to keep levying against the people to the point that they became so oppressive that the people decide that enough has been enough. And when I say people, I'm not talking about the freed original aboriginal people of the earth or the free aboriginal people of this land. I'm talking about the subjects, the Europeans that came over here to Turtle Island and called themselves Americans. The crown had become so oppressive to them that they decide that rather than pursuing my own self-interest and being hypocritical and acting like that there's nothing really truly happening, because surely oppression will make a wise man mad, they laid down their plowshares, they laid down their tools and their implements, and they picked up muskets to gain their independence from what they would be or what they would deem a oppressive regime. All right? And in this oppressive regime right here that they were looking for deliverance for, the oppressor, the crown, the British crown, classified these subjects as rebels, classified these subjects as insurrectors, classified these subjects as uncouth people undignified, because the colonies did not see life the way that the crown presented life to them. And the heavy taxation that was levied against them was more than any man on this earth at that particular time could endure. But yet the hypocrisy was stifling and blinding. The hypocrisy is that while they believed themselves to be serfs and slaves of the British crown, as being subjects, the colonies were, to the crown, yet they themselves held slaves and held people captive. Surely oppression will make a wise man mad. So we have a question that we all need to ask ourselves in the day, the time, and the hour, because what you call your independence and what you call your sunlight was nothing more than stripes and bloodshed for my people. When we go back to the old songs of Zion, when we go back to Jerusalem, when we go back to the land of Canaan, and we go back to the time of the emancipation, the first great emancipation that there ever has been, when the Israelites were seeking freedom from tyranny, freedom from slavery, to be emancipated from the Egyptians or the Mizrahites. It was the creator of the universe, the one who the colony said that we are endowed by our creator with certain liberties and certain rights. But it was the creator of the universe, going way back to my ancient descendants, the Hebrew Israelites of the tribes of Israel, under the leadership of Moses, that led my people out of the house of slavery and out of the house of bondage by the power and deliverance of the Most High Yah, the Creator. It came by way of bloodshed of the Passover. Surely oppression will make a wise man mad. The hypocrisy is stifling. It's very hard to even try to put all this together. When you think about a people seeking freedom from the ones that they believe to be their oppressors, and no doubt they were, but yet they themselves oppress people and hold themselves not guilty. And anytime someone sought to be delivered from the oppressor, they were considered in the same vein and with the same mindset and with the same attitude of the people who were in this tyranny of injustice and under this subjugation and this system of oppression, who the crown believed that these people were uncouth. The slave master themselves believed that the slave was uncouth. So what really truly happened in history then? What really truly happened in history is that what we deem today as violence, but we don't deem the government as a violent entity when they are oppressing us, because the climate is changing. It's changing very fast. We're seeing that we have made steps backwards rather than forwards. Just because we are afforded certain luxuries and liberties does not mean that we've made any advancements. Just because we have technology today that makes our lives a little bit more easier does not mean that we have actually embraced advancements. The problem that we're having today is that people have lost their ability to be able to see themselves for who they really truly are, and the same wants and desires, the same lifestyle that they want for themselves and their descendants. They're very hypocritical with themselves. The religion, Christianity, a lie in itself. While it presents itself as a God-loving people and a God-fearing people, yet in function and in attitude, they still practice the same tyranny as the crown practiced upon the colonies, even from people who they say that are American citizens here, right here in this land today. My question to you, is it wrong for a slave, or is it wrong for anyone who is feeling the hand of oppression? Is it wrong for them to pick up arms and to free themselves from their oppressor? Why are we called vigilantes whenever we want to defend ourselves from all injustice and all evil, but yet with the system of corruption and the system of injustice, they're free from scrutiny and protected from scorn? Should I celebrate independence? My independence only comes from being freed by Yahshua HaMashiach, because I realize that I am in exile to my Yah. I am in a strange and foreign land, just like the prophecy said. I'm not without knowledge. I fought for this country for 10 years as a United States Army paratrooper. I've been many, many places and been deployed many places in this world. Yet what burns in the back of my mind is the same way and with the same vigor and with the same vigilance that the colonies fought against the British crown in order to gain their own independence. I cannot help but to think today, should we not be fighting for our own independence? I mean, after all, back then they didn't consider it violence to protect themselves from an oppressive regime. But today we are led to believe by the same system of corruption that if you protect yourselves from someone that is doing physical or mental harm to you, that you are a lawbreaker. The hypocrisy is stifling. You see, they didn't consider it murder, or they did not consider it killing. They did not consider it being a bad thing to alleviate themselves from their oppressors, and surely oppression will make a wise man mad. And yet we are still in the same conditions today, to where people are totally insensitive to when they see a human being being shot by the very system. And I might add you, if we flip this British crown, American crown, under that same system, they're blinded to themselves and hold themselves not guilty. Do I celebrate independence? Oh, I celebrate independence, but a totally different type of independence day than the majority of you do.